In this movie, we're going to introduce a photographic element into our logo, specifically this galaxy cluster right here. And this is an authentic image captured with the Hubble telescope, and it's also public domain. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is move this image over into my composition. And you can do that assuming that the rectangular marquee tool is selected near the top of the toolbox by right-clicking inside the image window and choosing Duplicate Layer. Then I'll change my document to the document in progress, which is called with white background. And I'll go ahead and name the layer Galaxy, let's say, and I'll click OK. And now I'll switch back to that image in order to see that galaxy located on a new layer. Now I want to change the blend mode up here at the top of the layers panel from normal to screen, which will drop out all of the blacks and leave us with just the stars as we're seeing here. Now I need to adjust the position of this layer. And so I'll get my move tool on the fly by pressing and holding the control key. That's the command key on the Mac. And I'll go ahead and drag this guy up so that I see these two stars, these two bright stars along the top left edge of the rocket. Now, I happen to know exactly where I want them positioned. And so what I'm going to do is go up to the edit menu and choose the free transform command. And that will show me coordinate positions for this layer over here on the left side of the options bar. If you're working along with me, you need to make sure the center point is selected in this little reference point matrix. And then you want to change the X value to 1990 pixels. A Y value of 721, which is what I have, will work just fine. And I'll press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac a couple of times to accept that change. All right, now I want to mask the galaxy into just the top portion of the logo. And I'm going to do so using a vector mask that I'm going to lift from Illustrator. So I'll go ahead and switch back to Illustrator here, and I'll turn off my gradients layer for a moment and turn on the rotated layer down here. And by the way, I'm working inside that version of the file before I scaled it. And now I'll go ahead and click on this circle here to select it. And I also want to select this outer ring as part of a compound path. So I'm going to press the A key to switch to the white arrow tool, and then I'll Shift-Alt-click on it. That would be a Shift-Option click on the Mac in order to select the entire thing without the inner ring. Then press Control-C or Command-C on the Mac to copy it. And now you can turn that layer back off and then turn the gradients layer on. Click on the gradients layer to make it active and press Control-F or Command-F on the Mac in order to paste those paths into place. Now I'm going to change the fill up here in the control panel from black to none, like so. And I'm going to go ahead and click off the path outline for a moment. I need to find that anchor point at the top of the ring. So I'll go ahead and click on one of the segments there, and that'll show me where the anchor point is. And now I'll click on it in order to make it active. Now we need to move the anchor point to a position above the planet, and it'll become evident why we're doing this in just a moment. But in the meantime, just press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac to bring up the Move dialog box. We want to move this point at a 60-degree angle, and that's because the planet's at a -30 angle, and we want to add 90 to it. And then we want the distance to be 200 points. We're not concerned with the horizontal or vertical values, so just go ahead and click OK. All right, now press the V key to switch back to the black arrow tool. Click on that path to select it, and Shift-click on the circle to select it as well. And the reason we have the circle is it's going to help us position this other shape. And now you can copy them by pressing Control-C or Command-C on the Mac. All right, now switch back to Photoshop. And let's switch over to the Paths panel as well, which by default is located a couple of tabs over from the Layers panel. Then go ahead and Alt-click. On the Mac, you would Option-click on the little page icon at the bottom of the panel. And let's go ahead and call this new path From AI, and I'll click OK. And now press Control-V or Command-V on the Mac in order to paste those paths. Now, you'll get this dialog box asking you how you want to paste them. You do want path outline, so select Path, and then click OK. And notice that it comes in really tiny. And that's because we currently have the resolution of this image set to 72 ppi. So to fix that, I'll just go ahead and press Control-Z or Command-Z on the Mac to undo the paste. And then I'll go up to the Image menu and choose the Image Size command. Then inside the Image Size dialog box, you want to go ahead and turn the Resample checkbox off. And then dial in a resolution value of 300 pixels per inch like so, and click OK. And now, if you press Control-V or Command-V on a Mac and select Path and then click OK, you'll end up with these much larger path outlines like so. All right, now they won't come in the right place, so what you're going to have to do is zoom in to get a better look. And then go ahead and select your black arrow tool, which you can get by pressing the A key here inside Photoshop, and drag this guy upward like so until it appears to be in the proper position. And so what you want to do is just make sure that that circle exactly surrounds the logo. In my case, it doesn't. It's a little too high, so I'm pressing the down arrow key a few times in order to nudge that down. It's also too far to the right, so now it's probably too low. I'll go ahead and nudge this guy up. So it's going to require a little attention on your part in order to get this guy exactly aligned. But believe me, in the long run, it is worth it. All right, I'm just going to trace around the logo here in order to make sure that I've got it in the right position. Go ahead and nudge that guy up, perhaps, maybe a little bit over. Not always sure exactly where to put this guy. All right, I'll go ahead and scroll upward. It looks like it's a little too high, and hopefully that is the last modification I need to make. It looks like the circle is properly tracing the planet. So now I'll go ahead and press Control-0 or Command-0 on the Mac to zoom out, and I'll click off the path outlines to deselect both of them. And I'll now click on just this path outline here. This is really the only one we need. And then I'll switch back to the Layers panel, and with that Galaxy layer active, I'm going to drop down to the Add Layer Mask icon, and as opposed to clicking on it, which would create a pixel-based mask, I'm going to press the Control key or the Command key on the Mac and click on it in order to create a vector mask. Now, unfortunately, I went ahead and brought the circle over as well. That's not what I wanted. So I'll go ahead and click on that circle, this time inside of the vector mask, and then I'll press the backspace key or the delete key on the Mac to get rid of it. And now you can press the M key to switch back to the rectangular marquee tool, and that will go ahead and hide the path outline from view.